criminal justice system doesn't move as quickly as people like, but it does move. And that I hope they take some comfort from this.
Assistant DA Vincent Corrigan sharing that message for the family of Dennis Plowden, the man who died after being shot by former police officer Eric Ruch Jr. Ruch Jr. faces first and third-degree murder along with voluntary manslaughter charges over Plowden's death in East Germantown in December of 2017. Investigators say it started with a chase. Ruch Jr., who was on duty, noticed a white Hyundai that was wanted in connection with a homicide. Plowden was driving, but it wasn't his car. Plowden eventually crashed. Police say they told him to surrender, but he refused. And that's when Ruch Jr. opened fire.
According to this presentment, Eric Ruch killed Dennis Plowden while on duty by firing his gun directly at Plowden's head as Plowden sat on the ground with his left empty hand raised and clearly visible.
From the beginning, Plowden's family said he was unarmed, something the DA's office also confirmed today. As for Ruch Jr., he hasn't been a police officer since 2018, when then-Commissioner Richard Ross fired him, saying he used poor judgment and tactics during the shooting. Meantime, Police Union President John McNesby released the following statement to NBC10, saying in part, quote, "Our attorneys will review the allegations and appropriately defend this officer. Officer Ruch Jr. is entitled to due process, and we believe the judicial system will protect his rights to a fair trial." Eric Ruch Jr. turned himself into authorities earlier today. He is being held without bail, and if convicted of first-degree murder, he faces up to life in prison without parole. Stefania Jimenez, NBC 10 News.